AskReddit by upvoter Fergie. How do you feel about a 4-day work week? Working a 5-day work week just makes life seem so much more pointless. By the time I get the other things I need to do, grocery shopping, appointments, etc., done, it's Sunday night. A 4-day work week might give me time to play the piano I bought to combat depression. And X200B. Edit. Thanks for all the love, guys. I really needed it. That is the worst thing about it all. Sunday is basically just waiting for Monday. My employer gives us every other Friday off. We work 80 hours over 9 days. MF. It's really helpful to have those Fridays to schedule appointments, and I have less desire to burn PTO throughout the year just to take a much needed Friday off. Through the end of October, I had only used 2.5 PTO hours for the year, mostly for doctor's visits. The only real downside is that on the Fridays that we do work, nobody wants to do anything. We did the same thing, but we rotated. Some had Mondays and some had Fridays, and we alternated those as well. So any given day we would only be missing 25% of the office. And everyone had different days, so we weren't collectively not wanting to be there on one day, lol. Life would be that much better. I would have somewhere around 50 extra days a year to do all the yard work and home projects that I don't want to spend all weekend doing. When you put it like that, 52 extra days per year, it becomes a slam dunk yes. Unfortunately I am teacher, and it won't switch for me unless the rest of society changes to it first. Only districts that do 4 days right now tend to be rural. Edit. The number of people who don't realize that a majority of teachers work during the summer is astounding. Personally, I would gladly take a year-round school year if it meant shorter weeks. Plenty of places across the world use that schedule, and summer break is mostly outdated. It should also be noted that teachers do not get paid for the summer. To clarify what I mean by this, my district along with those in my area only offer a 9-month pay schedule. First check is in September and the last check is in June. You get good at budgeting because you have to if you want money for June, July, and August. They talked about this in the 70s. Yay, everyone said. My dad did it. He worked for 12 plus HR days and took off Friday. Everyone else was like, if I work the 12 hours the 4 days plus another 12, I can make even more money. Yay. I remember this happening with one of the Kellogg companies. They reduced the number of hours of every worker in order to avoid massive layoffs. Then everyone was just so happy with the new structure, they kept it for decades, until larger shifts in the economy made workers rethink what they wanted and they went back to 40-hour work week in order to make more money. I think the workers were just reflective of what people wanted at the time, more money in order to purchase more things, leisure activities etc. But there's a pretty significant shift in what people want now, where I feel a lot of younger people care more about how much time they have. Possibly because they grew up seeing that the race to acquire wealth wasn't really paying out the benefits that were promised, happiness, life satisfaction, etc. Provided there's no drop in salary, fucking brilliant. Fuck it. I'll take the drop in salary. My biggest complaint, probably in general, is that there is no way to take extra time off. I can only take 2.5 weeks a year and that is just stupid. Life becomes slaving away constantly without leaving the same 10-mile radius. That goes on for decades. Leads to extreme depression. We only get one life and we make a sick joke out of it because there is no other way to survive. And then it degrades your morale even more until you are a helpless husk of a person who can't find a way out. I would gladly work for 10-hour days to have an extra day off. 2-day weekends are too short. They're gone just as soon as you start to feel comfortable. Honestly, free time is the biggest luxury. I work 4 tens a week instead of the usual 8-5s and I fucking love it. 2 extra hours each shift is easily worth the 3-day weekend. Feel like I actually get a break from work each week. I do this as well. Would not go back to 5-8s. or 3-day weekend is actually enough time to properly relax, and the difference between an 8-hour day or a 10-hour day isn't really perceptible. Think it makes sense. All the evidence suggests it works, and the welfare benefits would be enormous. Edit. This took off a little more than I expected. Thanks for the cake day well wishes. Whilst I'm here is a couple of news stories about the research and articles about 4-day weeks. New Zealand but no cut in output. Short-term trial by Microsoft. https://www.google.co.za/amp/s/www.marketwatch.com/amp/story/good/F46DF7C0-5D8B-448-1-8CB8-7A8305045 How does it improve welfare benefits? My BF works 4/10s and it's a total game changer. It's adjusted his schedule so he wakes up at earlier hours on his days off, which gives him more day in his day, on top of already having an extra one. I'm self-employed and I try to have all my work done by Fridays, so we usually get 3-day weekends together, which also makes taking short trips easier without missing any work. It also opens up a weekday for him to do certain things that have more limited hours on weekends like appointments and whatnot. Edit. Typo. Given that we now have more people in the workforce and supposedly more productivity because of automation, we ought to be dropping down to 32-hour weeks to compensate for the changes in our household structures. What I don't get is why we work on hours instead of the work being done. I apparently get paid to carry out certain responsibilities, not to just be physically present at a workplace, but if I finish all my work I don't get to leave. It incentives wasting just enough time that you look busy all day, otherwise they just hit you with even more work, effectively punishing you for being good at your job. Used to do a 12-hour day 3 days a week. It was glorious. I did a rotation of 12s 3 on 4 off, 4 on 3 off. It was nice but during the winter as was hell. You walked into work in the dark, worked in artificial lights all day and when you left, it was dark. I not only think it would be great, I think we should go further and eliminate required work hours for certain jobs altogether. Most office jobs can easily be done from home with a phone and a working internet connection. There's no reason to force people to commute and sit on a cubicle for hours and hours every week just so bosses can make sure they're working. That's 1919 thinking, not 2019 thinking. When you hire me, you should pay me X amount of dollars for Y amount of work. Whether it takes me 12 hours a week or 54 hours a week to get it done, my salary X never changes. And any free time is my own. Yup. My office likes to treat working from home as some sort of prized commodity. I was feeling unwell and spent 2 days working from home as to avoid getting others sick. I got all my work done both days. During the second day my boss messaged me and stated that I needed to be in the office the next day because it doesn't look professional. I want to find the person who established work culture and punch them in the head. I think it's less about 4-day work weeks, but more about work-life balance. For people that's already working more than 10 hours a day or no pay overtimes or working during holidays, working 4 days a week means very little. In terms of climate change, it'd be about 20% less CO2 emissions from commuters, which is nice. Not just commuting, but running a workplace. Industrial jobs are the most obvious, but even an office building full of computers, lights, climate control, etc. uses a lot of energy. I feel that 3 days off in a row actually feels like 2 days off. And 2 days of in a row actually feels like 1 day off. Got all your work done? Yup. We expecting any more to come in today? Nope. Anything else you can help on? Nope. Okay, See you tomorrow. These should be our work days. IDK, I'd rather just not work at all. Same TBH. Deleted. A lot of people are getting fed up with it. Also, how do you feel about OP asking questions that they know for a fact that virtually all Reddit agrees on but asks anyway for karma and attention? At least you're honest, I guess. As long as it is for 8-hour days with no change in pay, I can get the same amount of work done in 32 hours as I get done in 40. I asked for Fridays off and now work 32-hour weeks for -8s. I lose the extra 8 hours of pay, but I'm happier with my long weekends every week. I was offered 4/10s, but I thought it would be too much for one day. I get paid weekly, so I didn't see the money drop too much. Deleted. This keeps coming up, and I'll keep getting buried, but I will keep saying it. A 4-day work week should be 4/8s, not 4/10s. For some people 4/10s is better than 5/8s, and that's fine. But nearly every study on productivity, happiness, flexibility, revenue, etc. that deals with a 4-day work week studies 4/8s, not 4/10s. The entire theory is that 40-hour work weeks are excessive for many modern jobs. Cramming the same hours into fewer days completely misses the point. I would do some or all of the following. Cook more. Play more competitive video games. Join a band. Play dodgeball. Go to the doctor dentist once in a while. Travel out of state more often. As long as the pay still matches what I make now and I do have to work longer hours, I'd be thrilled. I've been dreaming about everyone, besides emergency responders OFC, having Wednesdays consistently off. That would be an absolute dream, and the health benefits of it, mentally as well as physically, would be well worth it, even to employers, even if they don't try to force their employees to make up for that time by working longer on other days. I believe that in many professions, the profits that are lost by giving people another day off midweek would more than pay for themselves in employee satisfaction, loyalty, motivation, and less need for medical leave. I have thoughts on emergency responders and businesses that organize themselves around people having free time too, but yeah. Let it be just said that there are very, very few people in the world who truly need to go shopping at 8 PM on a Saturday. I absolutely support it. There's so much evidence that backs the benefits up, but agree with the comments about lower paid workers just working more at other jobs. This system is good in theory for salaried workers, but not so much for hourlies, unless their wages were adjusted accordingly. I also think it would affect newer members entering the workforce. It's illegal to roll someone's payback for doing the same job they've always done, in my country at least. Some conditions may apply, but what's to stop companies from hiring new entry levels at a percentage less? There would have to be regulation and laws against it. Cost of living doesn't go down just because your hours do. It wouldn't work for me. I work at an animal hospital, open 7 days a week, and there's not enough of us to go around. And the company would never hire enough people to cover for a 4-day work week. Yeah, there's going to be a number of fields where this simply won't be feasible. Construction, shipping, emergency response, probably all of retail, at least at the customer facing level. But hey, if someone works the 9-5 corporate office life and they can manage 4-day work weeks, go for it. Reddit, how do you feel? Popular Reddit belief. Wait, all of you love it, what a surprise. People of Reddit, should blind elderly people be forced to take tests to make sure they are able to drive? Long overdue. No point in being in the office 40 HRS plus per week. What management never understands is that they are only getting 4 hours, maybe 6 hours of actual work. Whether they want us there for 8 or 10 hours, they are still only getting minimal production. Personally, I'd rather work for 4-hour days and get paid for 40 hours. I agree. I've been in an office job for a couple of years now, and after the initial period of being a newbie passed, my routine has been the same. Arrive at 8:15. Fuck around until 9:15ish. Start working and actually being productive until 1300 hours. Go on break, return at 13:30 for a half-assed hour of work. Coffee break at 14:30. Return at 14:45 and be kinda productive but not really again until 1600 hours. Then I literally do nothing related to work until I leave at 16:45. Honestly, just working straight from 9 o'clock to 1400 hours would yield the exact same results from me as an employee. From what I've seen around me, this goes for most other people. I did 410s for a while. I was so exhausted at the end of the 4th day I basically spent my 5th day recovering. I'm in It Street, a small company now. I don't see them going to 32-hour weeks for us. A step in the right direction, 40-50 plus hour work week is inhumanly long.